there's this second part, which was probably more alarming there in the US. We got too much attention from the FBI, the security agencies, wherever we came to the US. So to give you an example, last time I was in the US, I brought an engineer that is working for Telegram, and there was an attempt to secretly hire my engineer behind my back by cybersecurity officers or agents, and they were trying to persuade him to use certain open source tools that he would then integrate into the Telegram's code that, in my understanding, would serve as backdoors.
Would allow the US government to spy on people who use Telegram.
The US government, or maybe any other government, because a backdoor is a backdoor regardless of who is using it.
Have you come under pressure from other governments under whose jurisdiction you don't fall, but to accommodate their demands?
Well, of course. Well, Telegram is a large platform. We are popular in many, many countries. And we've been receiving a lot of requests, demands. Some of them were legitimate, right? There was a group of people who was promoting violence. There was some terrorist activity that was, spreading violence in some parts of the world, publicly posting things that any decent human being would disallow or wouldn't want to be posted. We would help them. But in some other cases where we thought it would be crossing the line, it wouldn't be in line with our values of freedom of speech and protecting people's private correspondence, we would ignore. Definitely, there's a pattern here. Telegram has been used by protesters in places like Hong Kong,
yes,
Belarus, Kazakhstan, even in Barcelona back in the day.
Yes.
So it's been a tool for the opposition to a large extent, but it doesn't really matter whether it's opposition or the ruling party that is using Telegram. For us, we apply the rules equally to all sides. We don't become prejudiced in this way. It's not that we are rooting for the opposition or we are rooting for the ruling party. It's not that we don't care, but we think it's important to have this platform that is neutral to all voices, because we believe that the competition of different ideas can result in progress and a better world for everyone. The FBI showed up at my house that I was renting, and that was quite surprising. And I thought, we're getting too much attention here. They knew I, left Russia. They knew what we were doing, but they wanted details. And my understanding is that they wanted to establish a relationship to, in a way, control Telegram better. I understand they were doing their job. It's just that for us running a privacy-focused social media platform, that probably wasn't the best environment to be in. We want to be focused on what we do, not on government relations of that sort.
That's in stark contrast to, say, Facebook, which has said in public, we tip the scale in favor of this or that movement in this or that country, all far from the West and far from Western media attention. But they've said that. What do you think of that? Tech companies choosing governments?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why we ended up here in the UAE, out of all places, right? So you don't want to be geopolitically aligned. You don't want to select the winners in any of these political fights. And that's why you have to be in a neutral place. But I think Facebook in particular has a lot of reasons, apart from being based in the US, for doing what they're doing. I think every app and platform plays its own role. And we believe that humanity does need a neutral platform like Telegram that will be respectful to people's privacy and freedoms.
Can you give us an example of a request that you thought crossed into censorship and spying, violating people's privacy?
Well, there's I would say a very funny story related to your home country. After the events of January the 6th, we received a letter from I believe, congressmen of the Democratic side, and they requested that we would share all the data we had in relation to what they called this uprising. And we checked it with our lawyers, and they said, you better ignore it. But the letter seemed very serious, and the letter said, if you fail to comply with this request, you will be in violation with the U.S. Constitution or something like that.
So they wanted data on people who voted for the other guy in the election.
Well, they wanted the data of people, who were demonstrating in Washington or wherever they were doing. You're probably right. I'm not an expert in U.S. politics.
Yeah.
What was funny about it is 2 weeks after that letter, we got another letter, a new letter from the Republican side of the Congress. And there we read that if we give out any data according to the previous request, we would be in violation of the US Constitution. So we got 2 letters that said whatever we do, we'd be violating the US Constitution in a way.
Under just crazy amounts of surveillance, wouldn't you think?
That's probably true. It would sound funny, but I assume by default that the devices I use are compromised.
Yeah.
Because you will still use an iPhone or an Android phone, and after experiencing what I experienced in the US, I have very limited faith in platforms developed in the US from a security standpoint.
Yes, privacy standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because in a lot of countries, ours, America included, spying is described as, quote, security. You're looking at it from the other perspective. You're assuming that security is privacy and my right not to be spied upon, but big governments describe spying upon you as security.
Thank you for this correction.